Good day to everyone. Welcome to today's Japan Meets the Digital Economy World. Japan FinTech Week Introductory Webinar. I'm delighted to be your host as we embark on this insightful journey. Our webinar today serves as a crucial stepping stone towards the upcoming Japan FinTech Week, set to take place from March 4th to 8th, 2024 in Tokyo, Japan. Organized by FinSum 2024, Japan FinTech Festival, and FinnoLab, and proudly supported by esteemed partners such as Digital Pilipinas and the International Digital Economies Association, representing 24 digital economy leaders and associations worldwide. Our aim is to illuminate pathways to success within the fintech and digital assets domain in Japan and Northeast Asia, with a keen focus on Korea and Taiwan. As we explore the exciting world of Japan's fintech landscape, let's hear from a true leader in the field. He is known for his visionary approach to leveraging technology in financial services. Please join me in a warm welcome for Ryosuke Ushida, Chief Fintech Officer of the Financial Services Agency of Japan.
Thank you very much, Jillian, for the introduction. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to this Japan FinTech Week webinar. And I'd like to thank Digital Filipina and Jillian and all colleagues to organize this event. We are very excited to introduce our event and why you should come to Tokyo during this week. And then let me give a few minutes to share the overview of Japan FinTech Week. So one moment, please. I hope everyone is seeing this slide. And then Japan FinTech Week will take place from March 4th to 8th in Tokyo. And then this is the first global fintech events organized by FSA. So FSA is an integrated financial regulators in Japan. So we finally decided to organize the world-class fintech event named the Japan FinTech Week this year, because we are very eager to attract international fintech expert into Japanese market, and then we are very willing to work together with global community going forward. And then FSA is a regulator, but we try to be a pro-innovation regulators like many other regulator colleagues like MAS and the HKMA. And that's why we are closely working with regulator colleagues as well as private industry partners to organize this Japan FinTech Week. So we are very surprised that a lot of organization and then companies are supporting our event, and then as a result, more than 30 events will take place in the heart of Tokyo during this week, and then before and after this week. And it's hosted by a variety types of organizer like FSA, Bank of Japan, Tokyo Metropolitan Government, and then Embassy, and then Elbandi, FinnoLab, and then other private sector players. And we also have a local excursion to Fukuoka and then Osaka, which are some of Japanese cities who want to become a financial center in Asia. And then I guess some of you are not familiar with Japanese market, but once you come to Tokyo during this week, you will get everything you need to start or expand your business. And this is an overview of events. As you see, a lot of event will take place. And then let's say, so and then Kito-san and then Shibata-san will talk about more about the event like Japan FinTech Festival and then 4F event, as you will see on the top right of this figure. And then other than that, other international organizer like Bloomberg and CFT and the DeFi Retreat and the Blockchain Governance Initiative Network will organize a big event. So you can choose from variety types of options, and this is a tentative schedule of the core week. So you will get more details once you go to our website. And then these are just example of some speakers for this event. So including Prime Minister of Japan, Fumio Kishida, we will have a lot of distinguished speakers for this event. So you will get a high quality discussion. And then at the same time, FSA want to communicate with the participant directly. So that's why we are planning to host a meeting that FSA regulators event during this week. So you can contact us and then you can set up a bilateral meeting with my colleagues. And then you can ask whatever you want, like, what types of license or registration you need to start your business in Japan, or what types of industry kind of expanding. So this kind of question, some of the discussion topic, and we are very happy to have a chat with you. And then I got a lot of question about how you can get on board on this event. So actually, there is no all-in-one ticket for JFW, Japan FinTech Week, because as I mentioned, it's organized by variety types of organizers. And then some of the event are free of charge, and you just need a registration. And then some of them, and you needed to purchase a ticket. But we have an exclusive Japan FinTech Week website, so you can check everything, including a ticketing information, and then you will register or purchase the ticket. And then FinSum is one of the core fintech conference of Japan FinTech Week. So it's hosted by JFSA and the Nikkei newspaper. So I think this will be one of the largest event during this week. And then it's organized by us. So naturally, a lot of regulators all around the world are joining this discussion, as well as private industry experts. And then more than half of the speakers are Japanese, but you can hear all the session in English. And then it's a quite rare opportunity, I'd say, because we have some kind of local context. So some of you may feel Japanese market is a little bit conservative and it's difficult to understand, but this FinTech conference give you a good opportunity to understand what the local market is advancing, and then who are the key players in our economy. So please come and join that FinSum. And then the special news for you is we are preparing complimentary ticket for FinSum. So please just send us an email with your name and the affiliation, and we will give you a complimentary ticket for this event. And that's a brief introduction from my side. Thank you very much for hearing.
Thank you, Ryosuke Ushida, for your insightful and inspiring glimpse into the Japan FinTech Week. Following his lead, we delve deeper into this ever-evolving ecosystem with Takeshi Kito, CEO and co-founder of Elevandi Japan, a prominent figure in the industry known for his entrepreneurial spirit and collaborative approach. He also champions innovation through his role in the government's regulatory sandbox. Let's extend a warm welcome to Takeshi Kito.
Hello, good evening, everyone. As briefly introduced by Ushida-san, we are organizing a Japan FinTech Festival, and together with Peter Franken, it's here as well. So Elevandi Japan is organizing this event. This is our second year, but this is the first time to organize this full-scale FinTech event here in Japan. So our event is basically for global stakeholders. So our session is already English, so you can join and collaborate with the Japanese stakeholders, Japanese attendees as well. And our FinTech festival will be held in Pandamyojin. It's quite similar to what you can see on the screen. So it's shrine. And we have many panel discussions and roundtables and also networking opportunities. Yeah, so maybe you can see more information on our website. So Digital Filipinas will provide more information and also provide discount code of our event. So please join us and please come to me if you need any help to work with or collaborate with the Japanese stakeholders. So yeah, it's my brief message. And probably, Peter, are you speaking some comments or message?
Yeah, of course. First of all, thank you everybody for joining us. Also, thank you for the organizers for having us this evening. It's an honor always to talk after Ushida-san, and we're super excited to be part of the Japan FinTech Week. I just wanted to add a few more things to that. First of all, the URL, you can see what all we're going to do there, but I was just wondering if we can, if you go to the website, you can see the program and so on. I think it's maybe important to talk a little bit about why we're running the FinTech Festival out of Japan. We have been running the FinTech Festival out of Singapore for the last 8 years, but we felt, and after talking to many stakeholders in Japan, that there is a need for a more cross-border focused event in Japan that brings the overseas players and the Japanese domestic players closer together so that we can start tackling things that can allow us to bring more startups to Japan, start to bring better fintech connectivity between the nations so that we can do payments better, but also have an open dialogue as to where we see the future go in general, but also how that ties back to Japan and other parts of our region. I just wanted to highlight that we have focused on bringing a very diverse number of speakers to Japan FinTech Festival. We expect about 220 speakers in total to come to the festival. Out of that, more than half of them are not from Japan. They're from overseas. We also expect a high number, and we as you probably know, on March 8th, in that week is International Women's Day. We expect a high number of female leadership to come to Japan and also from Japan to be on our stage, and we want to celebrate it as well. But we also want to celebrate a lot of younger people at the festival, so expect a lot of fintechs and young entrepreneurs to be on the stage as well. And I'm looking at Shibata-san right now. We have a lot of startups in Japan. We're also bringing startups from Southeast Asia and other parts of the world to the FinTech Festival so that we can kind of bring a lot of these things together. Besides having a stage, we are running about 15 big round tables on big topics like re-architecting the future of finance. We're focusing on, of course, payments, the more open standards in digital assets and how we can build those. We have a whole full focus on digital assets, separate from the main two first main days, to specifically focus on that in collaboration with FSA and Monetary Authority of Singapore, where we have a joint curated program, and we look forward to see you there. I think another highlight of the Japan FinTech Festival is our Founders Day. We really want to focus on startups and investors and the whole ecosystem around that. And we have broken that in multiple parts. One focuses on kind of the trends in investing right now. Last year wasn't easy for startups. How is it going to look like next year? The second thing we're going to focus on is what are the challenges around being a founder, right? We always talk about unicorns, etc., but for a lot of founders, there's a lot of challenges along the road, and we want to talk about that and so forth. Last but not least, we also will run Founders Peak for the second time in Japan, which will bring 15 amazing, largely Japanese founders to the stage to talk about their personal experiences. The last day, which I'm super excited about, is we're calling it Rising FinTech. This is on the fourth day. We're having a lot of delegations coming to Japan for the Japan FinTech Festival, and we're going to bring them all together so that everybody can talk to each other, share experiences, and also share with our Japanese attendees more about what's happening outside of Japan, specifically in the FinTech space, but also climate. We focus on AI, we focus on blockchain technologies and other technologies that kind of collectively are building the infrastructure of Japan. So super excited to see all of you in Japan. I have a final announcement because Ushida-san was talking about pricing. Today we have a super duper new price category added to our pricing lineup. We call it the Kospa Pass, Kospai is Japanese for cost performance. And in Japan, Kospai is a magic word. If something is Kospa, it must be good. And so we created a Kospa pass for those people wanting to come attend and want to kind of have a balance between few things at the festival, not everything, but want to have a selection at a great price. And I believe that we're offering that for $100 for the whole festival. So go check it out. Limited availability, but please do check in on our website today. Will not last forever. Okay, so that's it from me. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Kito-san and Peter, for your insightful and very informative insights for the Japan FinTech Week as well. So now moving on to a different lens, we explore the world of financial innovation through the eyes of Makoto Shibata. As head of FinoLab, he leads a dynamic team driving progress in this field. Known for his innovation projects in digital banking and fintech, he will share with us his perspective on the theme of our gathering today. Please welcome Makoto Shibata.
Hello, everybody, and thank you very much for having me. So FinoLab is a fintech office where we have like 50 startups and 30 corporate members, including a financial service agency. And we try to form an ecosystem to grow the fintech development in Japan. And for the Japan FinTech Festival, we are trying to have different events all together. And I hope you can see this slide. So for the from 4th to 8th, we are organizing all sorts of events. And all of this is called 4F together, Future Frontier Fest by FinoLab. So I hope you can join any of these events. And starting on Monday, we have a lab crawl where we would open interesting, innovative labs in our building. There are several labs in our buildings, and including a lab by Toyota or SAP and our own lab. There will be a quite interesting visit to these labs. And in the evening, we'll have a Japan Financial Innovation Award. And for the whole week, we'll open our event space as a FinoLab lounge so that people can come in to rest and use the Wi-Fi and to have a refreshment. And on Tuesday evening, we will have a big party on the rooftop of our building, Otemachi building, which is quite big. So everybody is welcome. And I hope people attending the FinSam and Japan FinTech Festival can also join, which is free of charge. And on Wednesday, we will have a UK meetup. So some of the UK fintech startups will come to FinoLab to have a pitch session, and then we'll have a networking lunch afterwards. And on Thursday, we will have a whole day pitch contest. In the morning, it will be a CC pitch, which is the youth pitch for student. And in the afternoon, we will have a FinoPitch. And for this FinoPitch, we've been running for more than 10 years. It's one of the oldest pitch contests in Japan. And we have finalists from 10 different countries this year. And we have a competition between the domestic fintech startups and also international ones. And from Philippines, we have finalists, two finalists. One is IOL Inc. and another is Solomon. So these two will be fighting for the the grand prize. And in the evening, we will have a reception for those who came to this FinoPitch. By the way, FinoPitch will be hosted in Ginza. In Ginza, there's Noh Theater, which is the traditional Japanese performing arts. So during this pitch session, we will have this Noh performance, a bit of Japanese traditional art. And on Friday, we will have APAC panel and pitch session. We will have some panel, and then we will have startups from APAC to pitch, and then have a networking lunch. And in the evening, we will have a late night party. So after the FinSum, they will have an after party. But after that, people can join the late night party at FinoLab. So these are the things that are happening all along the week. So I hope you can find what is happening and join us. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing the different programs during the JFF happening this March 4th to 8th. Thank you so much once again, Shibata-san. Now on to our first panel discussion. The winds of change are sweeping through the Japanese financial landscape, propelled by a dynamic force, collaboration and innovation. This is an exciting chapter. We witnessed the convergence of established institutions, agile startups, and forward-thinking regulators, all united by a common goal: to propel Japan's fintech sector to new heights. This panel discussion invites us to explore the fertile ground where collaboration fosters innovation. We'll hear from leading voices who are actively shaping the future of Japanese fintech. Now, before we start, allow me to welcome our panelists, and also may we say hi to the live telecast across various Facebook pages in fintech associations. Now for our panelists, let us welcome Ms. Amor Maclang, the convener of Digital Pilipinas, convener of Digital ASEAN, convener of the Digital Pilipinas Festival, Philippine FinTech Festival, co-founder of Geyser Maclang. Along with her, we have Ryosuke Yoshida, Chief FinTech Officer, Financial Services Agency, Japan, Takeshi Kito, CEO and co-founder of Elevandi Japan, Peter Franken, co-founder and managing director of Elevandi Japan, Makoto Shibata, head of FinoLab, Sandra Tobler-Sun, co-founder, chief customer officer, chairwoman of Future Technologies AG, and Zach T, regional head of customer experience at AIG. This panel discussion will focus on collaboration and innovation shaping the landscape of Japanese fintech.
Hello, everyone. Konnichiwa. Just want to make sure that we're coming in clearly. So before we get to the second part of the panel, which is all about the interesting landscape in APAC, we want to thank the organizers of the Japan FinTech Week. They're all here, from Yoshida-san to Peter-san to Kita-san to Shibata-san, for opening up Japan to the rest of APAC. I thought that how we would like to manage the first panel is to get people who've been there on the ground from day one. And our real objective is to get the rest of the world, specifically ASEAN and Asia Pacific, to all be in Tokyo beginning March 4, right? So I would like to say hi. Hello, Zurich. Hello, Sandra. An incredible
Good evening, Amor.
An incredible friendship that started in Tokyo. I saw you recently in Zurich. Please tell the rest of Asia Pacific, and do say hi to our Facebook watchers. What did you expect and take away from the first ever Japan FinTech Festival and Japan FinTech Week?
Konnichiwa, everyone. Very great to see many friends from last year's FinTech Festival and FinSum. For me, last year's experience was very exciting because I learned so much about Japan's openness to engage with innovators all across the world. And they move quite in light speed forward with initiatives on various levels. I think we have touched DLT law, we have touched digital currencies, open finance topics. So I think it's a very great possibility to engage in a week, not just with some of the most inspiring people in Southeast Asia, but really with people that have done and seen a financial industry from all different perspectives. And yeah, it's a great initiative. And I think many of the co-panelists are the reason why these formats are so successful. So it's very great to see you all again. And my regards from Zurich. Apologies, I'm in a tram. So I have you participate in some of the scenery of Zurich that has to offer.
It's incredible. I love it. Thank you so much, Sandra-san. Next, I'd like to introduce our friend from AIG. Yes. I would like to introduce Zach. Hi, Zach.
Hello, Amor. Hello. Good
I know
evening.
you can turn on the video, but guys, I will send you photos of Zach so you can visualize what a character he is. Listen, I think why I really wanted you to speak was to talk about the kind of networking. And earlier we were having a chat in our Singapore Festival group about a newbie wanting to, and many of the people in this group are first timers to the Japan FinTech Week. What are the tips you would give to help them navigate their first JFW?
Oh wow, thank you, Amor. Wow, I'm honored to be asked that. Just a quick side note that I'm super excited. You know, as a early joiner to an early fintech in Japan, we spent years trying to bring Japan's culture abroad to markets like Singapore, Hong Kong, Australia, and we're so excited to have people coming here to experience Japan, you know, firsthand, and not just through our crazy random stories. But to your point, you know, when you come to Japan, you know, how you maximize that time. You know, there's so many things going on. It's amazing the number of opportunities people have for connecting. The first time we've ever had this many events coordinated happening in sync. I mean, it's really exciting. It feels very global. It feels very forward-looking, progressive. And so to maximize their time here, I would give people a couple of bits of advice. First thing, you know, obviously, you know, to the points made earlier by the other panelists, we have different, you know, sort of horses for courses, right? Each of the events is going to have its own specialized focus. So find the events that fit most with your business objectives and, you know, the kinds of people you want to network, the kinds of people you want to collaborate with, the kinds of people you're looking for as customers here in the Japanese market. There are a lot of connectors like Shibata-san who can help you meet the right people. He's a very busy dude, but he's also very welcoming and will be happy to connect you with people if you know folks that you want to connect with through him. But get out and network, you know, get out to all of the events. And, you know, this sounds very cliche, but in the thread that Amor mentioned earlier, like get on LinkedIn and start, you know, like contacting people. That I can't say that strongly enough. It's a very effective tool when you're coming to a new market to target people that you want to get together with and just contact them. You know, it's nothing better than to say, hey, I'm going to be in your market for a week. Can we get a time to talk? I think that's a really, really powerful tool, and I recommend everybody take advantage of that. How's that for advice?
Thank you. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Zach. See, Sandra-san is also on mobile. Maybe later we can persuade you to turn on your video. But while you're contemplating that, Yoshida-san, good evening. And I think from a very grateful bunch of friends in Asia Pacific, we would like to thank the Financial Services Authority of Japan for giving a couple of panels in FinSum to bring attention to our unique qualities in ASEAN as a market. Tell us about the outward-looking agenda of FinSum this year? Meaning, what are some of the panels that are oriented towards APAC or ASEAN? Yoshida-san?
Thank you very much, Amo. So we have two big objectives for hosting FinSum and hosting Japan FinTech Week at large. So one is to showcase the potential of Japan FinTech market. We have so many FinTech players as well as incumbent financial institutions and then incumbent industry players like manufacturers and then gaming company, whatever. So we would like to gather as many as Asian and the international key players to Tokyo and then to engage with them. That's first objective. And then from Japan side, we are eager to work with Asian community and the global community going forward. So that's why one of the key panel discussion of FinSum is to discuss Asian FinTech trend, and then how we can cooperate going forward. So we are honored to have Amol as a distinguished moderator of the session, and then we are going to invite a couple of Asian FinTech association key players to discuss what we can do together. So to date, I'd say Japan is kind of, leaving behind compared to some of Asian countries. A lot of people talk about Hong Kong, Singapore, and India, Indonesia, Philippines, but not that much about Japan. So, but we would like to, change the reputation, and we are eager to be a part of global and the Asian FinTech community. So that's why we will make our FinSum this year more international and then more toward to the collaboration with Asian countries.
Thank you, Yoshida-san. And if you would allow me, please stay tuned to our Asia Pac and ASEAN panel in FinSum happening March 7 at 9 a.m. Right, Yoshida-san? Hello, Chihira-san, who's really been incredible in putting it together. I think Paaris and Ibu Vida of Indonesia are coming. And on the digital asset side, we have Ibu Ati, who will be part of the panel later on. If there's one thing, Kita-san and Peter-san, that I really got floored when I first joined the inaugural JFF and my first FinSum was how side by side FinTech and digital assets can coincide, because usually one lords it over the other. But I remember speaking to Kita-san walking down the streets of Tokyo. I said, you really see here the harmony between digital assets and FinTech and fiat. I know that you guys have a balanced program between FinTech and also digital assets. Kita-san and Peter-san, would you maybe care and share a little bit about the highlights and the fact that I think Peter-san and Kita-san pulled off once again a very non-conventional venue, which has never been seen before in any other FinTech festival in the world. Kita-san, Peter-san, I turn it over to you, sirs.
Kita-san, you want to start?
Yeah, please go ahead.
You go ahead.
Okay.
You start.
Regarding digital assets, I think it's quite important technology, or quite important ecosystem in terms of FinTech or financial industry. So in our conference, Japan FinTech Festival, we are bringing some initiatives from outside of Japan. So one is a Project Guardian. So it's initiated by Maritime Authority of Singapore. So we have MS team in our JFF, and we have roundtables and panel discussions with international stakeholders. So maybe you can see many exciting discussions in our event. And also we are organizing Digital Asset Summit on Wednesday. So it's dedicated conference events for digital assets. So for us, it's quite important topic again. And we are very happy to have digital asset related stakeholders to come to Japan. So hand over to Peter.
Yeah, so Amor, thank you for that. And as you know, you were kind of saying, how do you bring these things together? But for Elevandi, we always brought the communities together in a bigger way. And some people sometimes ask me, is this all about fintech? But today we really talk about many more things. You know, finance, we're a financial forum. We talk about fintech. We talk about climate tech. We talk a lot about deep tech, AI, and so forth. Blockchain technologies and quantum mechanics and all these things. So all these things are kind of merging together, and they're kind of starting to support finance is becoming an integrated service within society. The climate change is affecting all of us, but it is also playing a big role in the financial space and so forth. So we want to bring all these things together as they happen, and then looking forward, how will it change the financial industry at large? So that's why we focus on digital assets. To be clear, digital assets for us is a bit broader than crypto and DeFi. These are two things that we always hear about, but we also want to focus on some of the other things, and specifically in Japan, the FSA has been very forward-looking in terms of coming up with regulations around many things that other countries have not done yet, such as tokenization and so forth. So I think there's a lot of topics to be covered there. And as Kito-san was saying, there's a lot of collaborations between many parties, not just Japan and Singapore, but between many stakeholders across Asia and so forth in these spaces. And I think we're going to kind of create a nice window for people that come to kind of get the highlights on that in the conference. I just wanted to put up here Amor the schedule, because it's a little bit confusing, and we're talking about things that sound the same, you know, Japan FinTech Week, Japan FinTech Festival, and so forth. Here you have all the logos next to each other, and of course FinSum and FinOpitch are there, but we're all kind of working together to make this an exciting thing. I just wanted to highlight a little bit about the conference, right? We have Digital Asset Summit is on day 3 on Wednesday. This starts in the morning. A lot of sessions covering a lot of different aspects of digital assets. I think it is great for people that want to learn, but also for experts. There's going to be quite some good discussions to be had. The first 2 days we're focusing on digital assets, climate change, AI, trends around Japan, because we're doing this in Japan. So how's the Japan market evolving? How do we see that move forward and so forth? But also how these things are coming together as a whole. We have some amazing keynote speeches lined up as well during those days. And then we have the roundtables around that. Rising FinTech, which we just talked about, and Amor, this is all about getting ASEAN and parts of other world together. So this is going to be our big family day, so to speak, in FinTech, will be held on Thursday as well. So those are some things. And Amor, you mentioned about the site. And if you have been to a lot of conferences, then I would bet that if you would be dropped into a conference site anywhere in the world, you wouldn't know where you are, because they all look the same. They're basically big boxes with a lot of dark, kind of like a dark room, and you walk in there and you wouldn't know where you are. Well, we're going to change that a little bit. So we're trying to really say that we're doing, you know, this is the Japan FinTech Festival, and we're in one of the most, you know, picturesque countries in the world, and why not leverage that a little bit? And if you're going to join us, we're doing this at the Kanda Myojin Shrine, and you can kind of see a small video run here. Kanda Myojin Shrine is one of the larger shrines in Tokyo. It's a beautiful location. It's central Tokyo, not too far from Akihabara and not too far from Tokyo Station. It's like a little oasis within central Tokyo, and we're going to be there. You can see some of the photos here. It is literally built straight into the shrine as a conference center. We have about 6 separate venues in that, which we're going to use to run multiple sessions. It will give a very different feeling. We wanted to kind of create the feeling of you know, of kind of a little bit auspicious, a little bit serene, and we think we will have that. Now, it is the first week of March, and I'm looking at Ushida-san, because FSA organizes in the first week of March. It would have been probably better if it was the 3rd week of March, because then all the cherry blossoms are out. But we still, very, and the theme of Japan FinTech Festival, if you have noticed, is beautiful sakura pink. But the way the winter is going at the moment, I'm not too sure if we're going to have cherry blossoms in the first week, but we may have a little bit. So we're going to see how that is done, how that is going to evolve. But very special site. Wanted to really make it something for everybody to remember. And we're looking forward to all see you at the Kanda Myojin Shrine in Tokyo in the first week of March.
I have one word for all of you. In case you haven't experienced, it was my first Hanami last year, and I can't wait to for all of us, especially in ASEAN, to actually take part. I've always said that I could not miss the first ever Japan FinTech Festival because we all made history together. But I think the second one is really going to outdo the first one. Speaking of historic, two things. It is my honor to introduce and ask a question to who I think many of you will agree is the father of Japan FinTech. Wouldn't you say, Peter-san, Kita-san, and Yoshida-san? So
The grandfather.
everyone, the father,
The grandfather.
uncle. Oh my God, Shibata-san, they said grandfather, not me. So feel free to unfriend Peter-san at any time on Facebook. But really, Zach said it. One of the reasons why we are so absolutely passionate about getting everyone to come to Japan was the kind of welcome we got from everyone in this first panel, everyone. And Shibata-san, please do share what I have seen last year, and I think you're doing it again this year. It's not just about Japan, right? You have brought together North Asia. So I met an incredible Taiwan delegation. Tonight, I'm going to boot up all the eating photos, our Tokyo Station photos, so everyone can get excited, including videos of Peter and Shibata-san speaking, Kita-san speaking, Yoshida-san speaking. Listen, Shibata-san, please tell us what are the other nationalities that you have hosted in FinoLab, and what other nationalities other than Japan, than Japanese, can our participants expect to meet and network with? Shibata-san, over to you.
Right. So, for example, in our FinoPitch pitch contest, maybe I can put up photo again. So here you can see that the Noh Theater in Ginza. And for this pitch contest, there will be a finalist from 10 different countries: Singapore, Estonia, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Australia, United States, Philippines, Hong Kong, and South Korea. So it's quite interesting to see all these people get together. And we have been providing this platform to enter Japan market for some years. So this is a good opportunity for people to meet and to start discussion on how these people can enter Japan market. And once they start meeting people and have an actual discussion, they will have an opportunity to find out what would be the good starting point to enter Japan market. And at FinoLab, we have like 55 startup members, but about 10 of them are from outside Japan. So we've been helping many of these startups to enter Japan market. And this pitch contest is one of the opportunity where we try to get people together. And other than that, we are trying to host different receptions and meetups so that the people would have a good opportunity to meet each other. And last year we had visitors from all of the ASEAN countries and also some from Europe and US, and it's kind of a melting pot that we experienced. So this year, with the help from the Financial Service Agency, putting all the things in one place as the Japan FinTech Week, we are expecting to see more variety of people gathering in 1 week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shibata-san. And Shibata-san, we're working closely with FINA Lab and you to have an Asia Pacific and an ASEAN panel on the 8th. And also, a great idea by our brother, Kita-san. March 8th is International Women's Day, so we're assembling a group of other women leaders. So we'll be working with Yoshida-san, Kita-san, Peter-san, and Shibata-san to celebrate International Women's Day in FINA Lab, right? I think from 12 to 1. That will be on the 8th. And Peter-san and Kita-san on the 7th, which is the 4th day, I'm happy to tell you that Indonesia is coming in a big way. Philippines is going to be represented. We have some of the pioneering leaders who are here. And I'm trying to work on convincing Vietnam to come. So we are going to at least be 500 million strong represented. So between Indonesia, Philippines, Singapore, and Vietnam, that is almost close to 500 million. So we're there to support. Now, I look forward to turning over to the next panel because I think this time we want Japan to hear about the incredible opportunities in ASEAN. But before we do that, maybe one closing line or sentence from each of the organizer. What is there to look forward to? Now let me start. I look forward to the food tour that I know Kita-san will organize for us. Yoshida-san, your turn.
Thank you very much. So, please just come to Tokyo, and you can enjoy not only the discussion but also about everything, atmosphere, environment, nature, everything. So please just come to Tokyo and talk to us. Our regulator are very supportive for your business in Japan. Thank you very much.
Very true, very true. Another thing I'm looking forward to is the guitar and music performance by Kita-san and Peter-san. Kita-san, Peter-san, what should we look forward to for
Okay, so
first timers?
let me take that one. I think if you're doing a fintech conference and you're not innovating and doing something new, including taking some risk, you're not really a fintech conference. So we have to rethink what we're doing. And so we're going to have on the Founders Day, we're going to have something which is called Founders Rock. And Founders Rock will be the first time at a financial event where we will have an entire band playing, and all the band members are coming from the speakers that are speaking during the festival. We're still looking for a few victims among the speakers, but we already have drummers and guitar players and so on. And we hope this is going to be a great way, and I think this is really important. And Yoshida-san talked about this. So it's a great way to bring all the internet and all the people from all over the world and Japan together on something that anybody and everybody likes, which is music. It is it's something that everybody enjoys every day. And we hope to have also very variety of music. We have no idea how it's going to work out yet, but we're super excited to do it. It will be professionally produced, so no worries on that one. And it will be held at the Kanda Myojin Shrine. So pencil in your agendas. Join us. I'm not sure if Yoshida-san is going to join us on the stage, but we certainly hope he is going to be part of the audience and cheer on some of his colleagues as well. So that's something to look forward to.
Thank you. Kita-san?
Yes. Actually, I'm the same as what Yoshida-san and Peter mentioned. So why we are doing FinTech Festival is it's for fun and for impact. So yeah, please come to Japan for having some fun and also making some impacts in Japan.
I cannot agree more. To our members in IDEA, I have to tell you that the idea of coming up with the International Digital Economies Association, of which Peter-san, Kita-san, our founding partners, and of course, Shibata-san is our advisor, happened while we were walking down the Japan FinTech Festival week, right? That's how inspiring it was and fun and impactful. Shibata-san, final words from you. What should they look forward to?
Right. Tokyo is a very large city, but for this Japan FinTech Week, all the venues are in very close locations. It's almost walking or just one station on metro. So these locations include Marunouchi for FinSam and Kanda for Japan FinTech Festival, and for us, Otemachi and Ginza. So all these places are in the city center, very closely related. So I hope you would enjoy the city center of Tokyo. Maybe you might want to have a shopping experience in Ginza, or maybe have fun in Tokyo Station, wherever you want. But everything is close together. So we hope to see you in Tokyo.
Thank you so much. Before I turn it over to our dear partner in IDEA, Ms. Emily Pang, and our host, may we just ask the organizers to turn on their videos and let's have a quick photo op, because that's how we ASEANs do it. It never happened unless we have a photo. May I just ask Yoshida-san, Kita-san, Peter-san, and Shibata-san to turn on their videos. Jill, whenever you're ready.
All right, may we have Zach as well turn on his camera? Sir Zach.
Sorry, I can't.
Yeah, I can't.
all right. No
You
worries.
mentioned the keys on mobile. Yes, let's do it.
Okay,
Thanks, Zach.
we'll take the screenshot in 3, 2, 1. Do one more. 3, 2, 1. All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
See you all. See you all in Tokyo. Over to you, Jill. Thank you, guys. You're incredible. Can't wait to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Amor, and all our panelists for that insightful discussion. Now let's move forward with the next segment of our program. In this second panel discussion, we will delve into the topic of partnering for regional growth in shaping the future of Asia's digital economy. We'll explore collaborative strategies and alliances aimed for fostering growth and innovation across the Asian digital landscape. Allow me to introduce our panelists. First, we have Emil Chan, Vice President, Hong Kong FinTech Industry Association, Nicole Nguyen, co-founder of APAC DAO, David Chin, CEO of Spark, Stephen Vallis, Managing Director of Blockchain APAC, and we have Ms. Emily Pang, who will be our moderator for this evening. She is the APAC Partnership Manager of Apprise. This panel discussion will focus on the topic partnering for regional growth and shaping the future of Asia's digital economy. Ms. Emily Pang, please proceed with the panel discussion. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Emily over here. I hope you can all hear me clearly. I go by M. Right now is the Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year period. It's the 6th day. We actually celebrated for 15 days. So I'm going to wish everyone a prosperous dragon year of good health and happiness. And subsequently, we all reunited again at Digital Peanuts Festival and FinTech Festival, where I meet friends with our panel speakers, David and Nicole. And finally, we reunited just very recently at Asian Financial Forum in Hong Kong, where we have Emil, who was our moderator for one of our IDEA events, as well as the FinTech Festival co-located satellite event. And so now he's passed on the baton, so I'm the moderator for today. But first up, we'll have Emil to answer our question. I'm just going to ask you, Hong Kong has positioned itself as a global leader in FinTech innovation. In your view, what key lessons can be learned from Hong Kong's experience in FinTech that can be applied to other markets in the ASEAN region and Japan? Over to you, Emil. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. It's good to see you again. I still remember those days in Hong Kong, nice weather. It was quite cold and then it's turned a little bit warm. So the fintech market is similar to the weather. So it can be quite cold, it can be quite warm, it changes so fast. So for Hong Kong, you know that a lot of these sizable Web3 companies, or particularly the DeFi companies, most of them, in my eyes, they start from Hong Kong first. Namely Tether, USDT, and and Binance eventually, because China closed the door, and then these sizable exchanges, they all came to Hong Kong. But the climate change, because in general, we want to regulate those businesses. But when we were introducing new regulation, and somehow if we focus too much on the traditional way, it scared the market of Hong Kong. So a lot of companies, they moved to Singapore, they moved to Middle East, they moved to London, for example. So we got brain drains, we got a capital drain. So what we have to learn from Hong Kong is that we cannot use the same traditional way that it was quite successful in the past to regulate or to use this slow process, long process, to try to implement some regulations and to a new business. So Hong Kong changed also, the regulator changed quite rapidly, I mean the mindset. And now they are implementing, the sandbox approach. So for the stable coins, for the OTC, the over-the-counter exchanges, they are trying to consult the market and find a way together with the industry to find out, how we can implement some proof of concept or some a small scale introduction, so that the regulatory approach can go smoother. So I think to learn from Hong Kong is that we got to use a new approach, and we got to treat this regulatory approach, like we deal with the rapid changing or weather, rapid changing environmental issues, so new mindset, new approaches.
Thank you so much, Imran. I'm just going to follow up on that. You mentioned a great point. Regulatory inconsistencies definitely can impede cross-border collaboration in this digital space. So you're touching about how the Hong Kong has a sandbox idea. Could you share a little bit more about how economies in this region can work together to harmonize regulations and standards, particularly in areas like digital identity, anti-money laundering, cybersecurity, and the whole impact is to facilitate a more seamless collaboration and innovation? Over to you.
Yeah, identity is an issue because the world are not touching each other as close as before. So because of the geographical, political issue, or because of this competition issues, so there's a loophole created for these unauthorized transaction taking places. So I think for Asia, particularly in Asia Pacific, we can work much closer together. Since Hong Kong is a gateway of China, or the world reaching out to China. So if Hong Kong can make a standard and work closer with the region, so somehow for the digital identity, we have very good opportunity. Particularly, as you know, China is a pioneer of a retail CBDC, and Hong Kong is taking these very close approach, to work, approach the same way on the retail side. And what inspired me much is that Hong Kong Monetary Authority has launched out a process for these tokenized deposits. So for all these kind of regulated tokenized assets, we need somehow a identity system. So if the government, if a different regulators in Hong Kong, and also if Hong Kong can work closer with China, the Guangdong province, they already announced that there's a cross-border identity scheme to be launched within 2 years. So if we can use this experience, the cross-border experience between GBA and roll it out to Asia Pacific, and then work closer with the other countries like Philippines, like Malaysia, like Singapore, then I think we have the good chance to showcase these practices to the world.
Thank you so much, Emil. That was insightful. And I would just like to open the floor a little bit to the other panelists. Should you have any follow-up on what Emil has mentioned, any comments? Otherwise, I'll move on to our next panelist. But I'll open the floor to David, Nicole, Stephen, and Andre.
If
We're good. Okay,
possible,
yes.
I would like to add a few points. I think, well, what Emily, you have mentioned about regulatory inconsistency. I think maybe in Asian terms, we would call it regulatory arbitrage. This is something that we Asians are very good at, I have to say. And this also explains why we are one of the most robust hub for fintech as well as Web3, because we see opportunities everywhere that we go. So I think definitely with Web3 and fintech, since the space is still pretty much premature versus other technical, let's say, industries, I would say that I like in the near future, I would say that there would be the more growth we have with fintech or Web3, for instance, then the closer the regulators are, in terms of, let's say, facilitating this sort of interoperable tools or frameworks or systems. I don't see a future where everyone would be able to convene at some point, but I think with Web3 and fintech, it's about the incentives as well as about the opportunities that you can offer to companies, startups, and institutions. And that's where I think you as a regulator would be able to say that you are doing a great job. So I think this is like something that I've been kind of, seeing or observing in the Southeast Asian region. So very much like also have to say to Emil, and Hong Kong has been doing a great job in, I think, kind of reversing the brain drain, because eventually all of the mature startups are going there. I mean, they have an operation hub, they have a community in Southeast Asia, but they would eventually meet in Singapore or Hong Kong, just to form a more mature business. So this is some of the observations that I have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nicole. I'm going to give a little shout out to all of you who are here. Nicole, other than being the co-founder for APEC Val, she's also the organizer for the Vietnam FinTech Festival. She's going to be launching it in the second half of the year. So stay tuned for that. She's definitely going to share more. Now, I'm going to ask Nicole some questions, just as you've mentioned about. What do you believe is necessary to cultivate a dynamic ecosystem that ignites innovative projects within the Web3 and fintech sectors? Over to you.
Yes, maybe I would share some, some points of view, and then I would love to listen to everyone on, in the panel as well. So, I mean, for me, I've been building the community in Southeast Asia for the past 6 years. And I think to me at this point, like to build a Web3 or a successful fintech business, just maybe within your country, it does require a number of efforts in facilitating interoperability as well as having a more regional mindset, especially with Web3. Because as far as I see, especially with where we see the opportunities, especially in the areas where tech or fintech hasn't matured, like at Web3, being regional would give you a lot of leverages in terms of, sourcing talents, sourcing funding, as well as sourcing, let's say, partnerships from different countries and different markets where, where you can see the best opportunity. So I think basically when we're talking about ecosystem these days, it doesn't just stay within a country. And I think this is why Japan FinTech Festival is kind of expanding like hugely this year. I mean, I don't see that this is going to be like a Japan event anymore, but I see all of these global international faces coming together And basically, we cannot really see an ecosystem growing by its own. So I think starting with the right mindset, collaboration, which is definitely abundant in, I think, in the Web3 space. And I think also with transparency, which I think is one of the biggest power for the Web3 kind of like players. Because let's say once if with fintech, with blockchain and with Web3, this is basically where we can see how to leverage everyone, we can bring in everyone all together, even form a community, a group, even a country on its own, right? With its own governance, with its own incentives, with its own currency. I think this is some of the areas where we see how we can actually like kind of leverage fintech and Web3, and definitely like being able to drive more growth in the region. So in short, it would be about, I think, having a regional mindset, international collaboration, and also with transparency. And I think these would be the key kind of underlining powers for Web3 and fintech to thrive in the region.
Definitely looking forward to this ecosystem thriving. And Nicole, you mentioned that you want to open up the floor to the other panelists for their thoughts. Stephen, David, Emil, Andre, should you have any, you can unmute yourself and you can respond to Nicole's question.
Emma, I'll jump in and sort of echo one of the key words that Nicole has mentioned, which is interoperability. And I think adjacent to the word interoperability is open source networks. And I think that's something we've seen in digital frameworks. Open source will win in the medium and longer term now. These closed networks and these developments within closed networks can't compete with open source networks that are truly global. And I think that's difficult for a lot of, almost in a generational sense, people to understand, because they're used to closed networks, software packets that get updated by particular organizations. And here we have literally the hive mind coming together and working at pace. I think it's more easy to observe in something like the very rapid development of large language models, where we are seeing closed networks, largely things like OpenAI, and the pressure that we built on them through something else that is the Llama protocol, for example, where big companies are saying, you know what, we're going to have to work with open source networks. We can't own the ecosystem. And I think that's something which is dawning slowly on people. But once it dawns, you realize you just can't compete. And we see it through protocols like Ethereum as an example, where a lot of projects try to do closed versions or otherwise. But when developers find something which they think they can build on top of without permissions and they can make better, it tends to drive interest in those networks. So I'm excited to see how much of an acceleration that will create within the development of frameworks.
Thank you so much, Stephen, for sharing that. I'm going to ask a question to you now. As the Managing Director of Blockchain APAC, from your perspective at Blockchain APAC, how can blockchain technology be leveraged to facilitate greater financial inclusion and integration amongst countries within the region?
Emily, for me, the technology creates inclusion. I mean, we all carry around, these devices, which ultimately are a representation of our digital selves. And I think what happened in a slower progression of technology, in a desktop world into mobile, the division was created by those who couldn't afford desktops or those who didn't have access to desktop technology. The shift now to a digital native world where people are represented almost entirely on devices creates all sorts of opportunities for inclusion. I mean, yourself is on that phone, your reputation is on that phone, your view of what digital value is on that phone. And I think when I talk to a lot of people who are my age about how they view technology, they view it through this historical lens of, what does a traditional representation of value look like in particular? And when you talk about things like NFTs, people struggle to grasp, how is it possible that this digital representation has as much value as something else? And I often reference them back to something which, when I was younger, seemed foolish. When people were buying runners, sneakers, and then suddenly they became collectible. And that seemed so silly at the time, except now all sorts of people collect these things which have enormous value in their physical sort of self. The generational shift then is to recognize that the thing that matters most is the ability to carry around that representation, and that's done digitally. So in my mind, once that shift is made in people's mindset, you recognize that if you can identify and consume and carry all that value on your phone, most obviously, then you can send it. And if you can send it, you can receive it. And so that is an incredible velocity of value. And I think it's something which I'm excited to see, particularly in ASEAN countries, because it's such a digitally native continent. It's very much so, as far as I can see, the uptake is extraordinary, and people are very familiar with these devices and use them as second nature effectively. So I think it's an unusual and really important advantage that the continent has.
I think it's amazing that you highlighted the opportunities that's in this region. And now, because we're hopefully all of us get to go to Japan. Next question to Stephen is, how can Japan collaborate with ASEAN nations to foster a more inclusive and connected digital financial ecosystem in the region? You've highlighted some opportunities. There's definitely challenges into doing this. What are some of your take and your advice?
And for me, the biggest challenge that people have is they start local. I mean, that's the way it's historically been. The geographic border is a natural border, and in a country like Australia, the distance is both a strength and a weakness. In a digital realm, it is neither of those things. And so, if you don't recognise that data packets don't care about the border that distinguishes Australia from Japan, as an example, then you have to reframe the way you look at relationships and what the opportunities look like. And I think, as nations, because we're used to saying, what does this mean for Australia, or what does it mean for Japan? It's almost like you have to invert that understanding, which is whatever it means for us, it's something that is beyond our borders in some respects and some of that control. So I think from a Japan perspective, I'm looking forward to heading to the festival incredibly. I've been talking to people about what Japan means. And the truth is, it is a market that is not particularly well understood in many respects. And I think it's because it is a market that serves itself very well, but hasn't been as outward looking in terms of its economic prospects and economic sort of needs. And so what I'm finding, I was in Singapore 2 weeks ago. I'm in New Zealand at the moment, so I'm not in Australia at the moment. We're triangulating conversations. So the problems that we have and the opportunities are all shared. I'm saying the same thing in New Zealand as I said in Singapore, and I expect I'll say the same thing in Japan. They're mutual opportunities and mutual challenges, and it is only this understanding that we are the connective tissue, each of us, to these conversations. So when I talk to people like Amor and yourself, and I talk to Nicole, I'm excited by the prospect that we're actually talking about the same thing. The technology allows us to do that. So from my perspective, that's the challenge and the opportunity. And I think the smarter people going to the festival as an example, sort of recognise what that looks like. So I'm excited to be amongst like minds.
That's fantastic. I look forward to seeing you in person and also attending your speech. Now, we have David over here. David's the CEO of Spark, right? When he was sharing with me, and I met him in the Philippines, the idea about Spark, it came about from CIO Academy, and then they rebranded into Spark, really to just spark across collaborations within ASEAN countries and beyond. Now, the question is, how can we address the digital skills gap? Right, we talk about opportunities, changing the mindset is what Stephen was saying. Now, there's this digital skills gap and promote talent development in emerging technologies such as AI, blockchain, cybersecurity. So these could be initiatives like your student exchanges, joint research programs, industry academia partnerships. I just want to hear your thoughts about what Spark has been doing so far in the region, and any advice that you have that we can help to address this digital skills gap.
Thanks, Emily. Thanks for the question, and really glad to be amongst all of you again since our last meetup in Manila. I guess we're all common friends of Amor. That's what brings us together. Emily, thanks for the question. We've done a lot of work with large enterprises, organizations, and government agencies, predominantly in Singapore and the Southeast Asia region. And our role is twofold. One is to enable organizations from across all industries and also government agencies to have a deep understanding about the way digital can transform processes and how business is conducted, and introduce new forms of business models to the organization to achieve the right business outcomes. It could be to be able to address a new customer segment, discover a new market segment, be able to reduce the cost to serve, be able to increase revenue from existing share of customers. So these are very key outcomes and matrices we track closely with large enterprises across Asia whenever we engage them in very deep digital transformation consulting projects. The other is we see a lot of trends in technology now being hyper-consumerized with non-traditional, non-tech roles. In the past, when it comes to touching technology, we see that only IT teams and digital teams interact more with advanced technology and even simple to use systems and software. But today, because things have gotten much more consumerized, things have gotten much easier to use, using generative AI, for example, nobody needs to ever learn a line of code to use, the world's most advanced AI today. And with that, it's less about just increasing skill sets because things have become easy to use. It's more about helping the average professional to understand how the technology works and how they can use it to augment the work that they do. So a lot of our work today revolves around how we enhance and catalyze the push toward better human-machine augmentation. With this being said, it requires a few key ingredients. One, sponsorship from the top. So we work a lot with boards. We work a lot with the C-suite and the executive leadership teams to drive those transformation conversations and promote the use of digital in the overall business transformation journey. Second is that we need to work closely with the business teams, the operational teams, the functions, to discover ways and use cases in which technologies across all domains can be adopted right to use in their own work and functions. And thirdly, is to also work closely with the technology teams to help them understand the readiness, the state of readiness, and the skill sets they need to develop to fully unleash the potential of the technologies they are adopting, so we deliver the greatest return on investment, return on a dollar, for all the money they've put into the technology transformation roadmaps. We think this threefold approach really helps organizations sustain a tech transformation over the long term and ensure that the business sees tangible business outcomes and benefits from the use of digital. In context with fintech, I think it really brings the region together in ASEAN, and with very mature and developed economies like Japan and North Asia, more of these collaborations can really harmonize Asia as a power force for lots more collaboration and discovery of for new markets. Yep, that's all from me, Emily.
No, thank you so much, David. I always say that there's so many things that we can do, and there's so many projects that if we put all our hearts and minds to go about it, we can achieve success. About 12 years ago, I was in college studying management information systems, and back then in the US, it was the up and coming hot topic or rather module that people would take. And why so? Because you have your management team, your business side of the crowd, like what David mentioned, and then you've got your IT and tech team. And how can they communicate together? How can they understand certain business outcomes could be linked to digital initiatives? And once you be able to get both groups together, all of these different groups from different departments coming together, that's where they can actually drive the project to fruition. And then the whole organization can adopt certain upcoming new technologies that they may have not been exposed to previously in their regular day-to-day. But now that they have all these tools, how can they actually utilize these tools to create more collaboration? And this is also what facilitates cross-border collaboration. So thank you so much, David, for answering that question. Now, last but not least, we have our panelists. His name is Andre Leong. Give me one quick second. And he's the co-chair of Green Tech and ESG Committee of the FinTech Association of Hong Kong. Andre, you're there?
Hello.
Yes. Hi there. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, the question that I have for you today,
Yes.
how can APAC collaborate to accelerate green finance innovation and investments, as well as what are some of the challenges and opportunities that you see for cross-border green finance initiatives in the region? Thank you so much. Over to you.
Sure, yes. Green finance is actually a new area, which is an extension of some of the traditional compliance or risk and legal technology. And first of all, for a lot of incumbent institutions, it's very difficult for them to suddenly change to a new way of standard. So what our role as a fintech ecosystem is to help the transition So we need a lot of collaboration with the regulator who push the policy or to promote fintech adoption. However, if we need to strike the balance between getting the senior management buy-in and also the readiness of the technology, it takes a lot of mini steps that we have to help those incumbent to implement solutions very quickly so that they're not lagging behind. So I think the challenges is that because a lot of solutions right now are very Western centric. So and in some way the pain point is rooted from the inability to address some of the local requirement in Asia or North Asia and ASEAN. So therefore, instead of asking them to change the solution, they still have to keep the old solution. However, we can add an additional layer to help them to alleviate some of the pain points and to make the process more efficient. And therefore, that's how our ASEAN and North Asia and Japan and all these developed economies link up together to help the financial institution to understand what is the latest trend and what kind of add-on solutions or process they need to implement quickly. And I think the challenges is that we've got to get the buy-in from the senior management and also the working level. And I think kind of like top-down and bottom-up approach to buy into innovation in a low cost and a low risk kind of lightweight approach. However, the impact is great. The impact to the operational efficiencies is very, very prominent. So therefore, in order to promote this to those like financial institution tier 1 all the way to those smaller shops, we need to have to push more standard rooted from Asia, rooted from our local know-how of the culture, of the pain points, rather than those like Western-centric solutions. So it's more like a joining hands together so that we embrace all the standard from the Western centric way together with the local way of innovations. So therefore, our collaboration with all the associations, the regulators, the sandbox, and all of us here will push the financial institution to bring them up to speed with the latest trend without much pushback and with great efficiencies. So I would say the challenges will drive opportunities.
Thank you so much, Andre.
Thank you very much.
Of course, you know, we always identify problem statements, and then from problem statements, we come up with solutions and then work together. I have a question, follow-up question for you. Just on this green space, what is the initiative that Hong Kong has already been doing so far in green finance? And perhaps it should be a learning lesson, opportunity for us to learn from that experience that Hong Kong has been doing so far.
Okay, so for Hong Kong, the Hong Kong government is proud of the issue, the tokenized green bond. And this is actually very, very breakthrough technology, I would say, initiative. And also for financial institution to launch green financial instrument, they need to have a lot more technology to support the due diligence of the counterparties, of the lenders, about how green they could be. So therefore, green tech became very important. And Hong Kong MA actually launched a green fintech competition last year. They actually identify about 5 winners coming from solution provider globally, so that it make it easier for the financial institution to implement the solutions without doing a lot of due diligence or vendor selections process. So this is actually a huge step to promote green fintech or the ESG and green tech for Hong Kong, and also with the bridge of the Greater Bay Area, which are in line with the initiative of the 14-15 strategy. And also, I would say that everyone go fintech, and will be net zero perhaps by 2030. So I think Hong Kong are really the pioneer to push that forward.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And that was really a running theme, right? Green tech, green finance at the recent Asian Financial Forum. When I was attending the different speech, a lot of the speakers were highlighting what their different countries were doing to contribute to that. Well, we're going to wrap up this segment really soon, but I would love to just open the floor to the other panelists. Any last comments that you have? It doesn't have to be related to the question that I was asking previously, directed at yourself. It could be just overall thoughts with regards to how can we shape the future of Asia's digital economy together. We could start out with Emil again, back roundtable. Emil, Nicole, Stephen, David. Stephen, I
go
see you
ahead.
from yeah, go ahead, please. Thank you so much.
Emma, happy to start. And I think one of the things that we need to sort of recognize in a lot of economies and a lot of Western-centric economies is that risk and compliance overwhelms innovation. The number of people who are tasked with making sure nothing goes wrong overwhelms the number of people who are tasked with making things better. And that's a very honest conversation that people have to have. And particularly when it comes to language like the use of the word tech neutrality, it's often used where they're neutral. Very difficult to be neutral towards technology you don't understand. And so that ends up being the challenge in the rooms that I'm in, that you just need to make sure that you almost ring fence those who are trying to innovate and sort of protect them to give them enough time to make the business case. Otherwise, you'll lose almost every day to the conversation around risk and compliance. And to Andre's point about executive leadership teams and buy-ins and top-down, they're going to be punished more often than not, much more for mistakes where risk and compliance is involved than heralded for their innovation. So I think you start with that basis to say, listen, we're predisposed to doing that. There are better options available if we just give things a little bit of time. And so again, that's part of the reason I really enjoy traveling across the ASEAN region is I think innovation is actually a much truer use of the word than what it is here, which is often buzzword bingo, where people say it as part of a series of words. So I think that's why it'll be a great event for us all to share these thoughts.
True.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Emilius.
Yeah, well, we are talking about Web3. We are talking about collaboration. We are talking about, using a new way to build the new trust, among a group of people, the community. So in Southeast Asia, together with Japan, for sure, that together with also Middle East. So these region consists of, the most population size of the world. So in such a case, if we work together and build a new trust system, say, for example, we are using US dollar at the moment. It's one country, one system. So it is not the ideal case of Web3 utilization, despite the fact that we are still using USDT, to go on and off ramp. So I think in the future, particularly, say, when we talk about real world assets, so if we have a base currency that piggyback, packed with gold or bullion, for example, then it will be different. Say if all countries in Asia, together with the Western countries, that the users, they are going back, the pre-World War or World War era, that we are attached to gold or some, precious metal. Then I think on one hand, we are still trading Bitcoin, Ethereum, or those Web3 assets. On the other hand, when we go off and on ramp, so we got a buffer, and we can still allow RMB, US dollar, and euro, in the traditional finance. But if we have another type of asset, and which is a real world asset and which is quite stable, then I think we can build a new order. We can rebuild the trust, within the countries in Asia. So I think we have to look toward that direction. That's in line with what we believe the Web3, initiatives.
Thank you so much, Emil. Now, with our last three panelists, any closing statements and remarks? Nicole, David, and Andre, over to all of you.
First of all, I would love to see and work with you guys after this. Now that I know the ecosystem leader in different countries, it's going to be so much easier to know who's who and who to partner with in different countries. Because at the end of the day, we Asians, we love our own culture. We definitely don't want to be blended with someone else. So I would say that if you want to go to these countries, of course, work with these people and basically, you know, help to expand your business like locally and regionally with these leaders. I think number two, I'm not sure if I can do this with my event, but I'm going to experiment with some of the different sort of unconference model. Maybe in November in Bangkok this year, it's going to be a Web3, kind of a Web 2.5 conference, but we are actually kind of gathering the attention on the problem and gather the problem solvers and the service providers to come together and work together regardless of their background and see how they can actually tackle those challenges. I mean, like definitely with events like Japan FinTech Festival, there are so many stakeholders involved. You cannot really kind of put blockchain on the stage, like forgetting AI in the back and so on. So pretty much everyone wants attention, everyone wants spotlight. But to me, I think as a tech evangelist, what I really care about is how the technology can solve problem. And it doesn't have to be labeled, right? It can be anything. It can be open source, like what Steve mentioned. It can, like some part of it can be even like a permissioned sort of technology as well. Because at the end of the day, it's about how we can tackle the problem together. And I mean, people from different backgrounds can actually come up with other ideas on how they can do this. So I'm not sure if I can do this with Vietnam FinTech Festival. Maybe like still, I would have to still carry out this model and invite all of you to the event. But what I really care about is how we can actually kind of solve real world problems together. And I think that's why we can say that the technology does matter. The technology is sufficient, in my opinion.
Thank you so much, Nicole. 100%, more than 100%, 110% believe you can definitely do this. We're here to support you. This is an amazing idea initiative. And we're going to bring a spotlight to Vietnam, to Bangkok. And over to you, David, Andre, for your closing remarks.
Maybe I'll just go first. Looking forward to meet more new friends and really glad to have met all of you today. You know, I think it's a good platform to spark conversations and talk about new opportunities to collaborate. There's too much knowledge and not enough time for us to learn everything. So hopefully through some of these friendly conversations, it's easier to narrow down to stuff that could be relevant for all to learn. So thanks so much. And Emily, great job moderating. It's a huge panel you're hosting, so really good job. Thanks.
Thank you for the encouragement. Over to you, Andre. Thank you so much.
Hello,
Hi.
sorry for the background noise because I'm in a restaurant. I just finished a client meeting. And yes, for me,
we would love to
thank
join
you.
Yeah, no noise. No noise at all.
Awesome. Okay, so I still remember vividly about the event in Hong Kong during the Asia Financial Forum where Emily, Amma are there. It was really great event because in a very ASEAN setting, so we're able to connect different stakeholder and also tech evangelists into one very passionate community. We hope that this passion will continue to prosper in Japan FinTech Festival, so that our collaboration in North Asia, in ASEAN, and all together can really promote more adoption in Japan, I would say, because this still the primary host is Japan. We hope that our great solutions, you know, can be adopted by the financial institution and beyond. And so this is my big wish, and so that we need to join force together to make our soundbite great.
Amazing.
Thank you very
Thank you so much, all the panelists today. This has been an insightful session, and appreciate the opportunity for Digital Filipinas to let me be a moderator today. I've learned a lot as well. Now I know we're going to have a photo op. I'm going to pass it over to Jillian. I know hopefully who could turn on your cameras, we want to do like a main big photo op with the attendees. We also want to thank the attendees, participants who are here, as well as those who are tuning in live on Digital Filipinas Facebook page.
Thank you so much, Emily, and our panelists for that wonderful discussion on collaboration for regional growth and shaping Asia's digital economy. Now, to commemorate this important gathering, we'd like to invite once again everybody to turn on your cameras for a quick photo op. All right, we'll cue you in 3, 2, 1. We'll do another one for safekeeping. 3, 2, 1. All right, as we conclude this wonderful webinar, our discussions on collaboration for regional growth and shaping the future of Asia's digital economy have illuminated new pathways forward and reinforced the importance of collaborative action in driving innovative prosperity. We would like to express once again our deepest gratitude to our esteemed speakers, participants, and organizers for their invaluable contributions and unwavering commitment to advancing the digital landscape of Asia. Thank you once again for your participation and unwavering support. Until we meet again, let's stay connected and keep pushing the boundaries of possibility. Thank you and have a great rest of your evening ahead. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.